Hey, what the vet fam? We're back on another fun-filled week of chit chat, and I lost my train of thought, and then I was just staring at Amber's face, and it froze. So then I got distracted. My ism is coming out today to play. Basically, I had gone on to TikTok and asked a question, and the question was the veterinary clinic seeing this or doing this, where they are charging for outside prescriptions to approve them, blah, blah, blah. So if I went to Amber's practice, Ally Dog needed drugs, I found it cheaper elsewhere. They're like, cool, we'll give you a prescription, but it's going to be $5 or $5.25. It's like I saw between 5 and $5.25 randomly. So like not exorbitant amount, but an amount to process to give you a prescription where you as the client still has to send it out themselves. It was interesting. It was more of a yes than I thought. I thought it was going to be more sporadic, like more no, my clinics aren't doing it, but it was actually the opposite, where it was in fact a yes across the board. And on one hand, I get it. On the other hand, makes me mad. So like this is going to be like devil advocacy, right? I can see both sides. As practice manager, practice owner, you are losing money to Chewy.
Yes.
But also on the flip side, as a practice owner and manager and the person that does the inventory, the medications aren't moving because Chewy has it cheaper. Yours is sitting. So we're going to compare a bottle of ampicillin. I don't know, it's the only thing that came into mind. And a bottle that you guys got is going to be $50. But because Chewy can buy more quantity at once, their bottle now is $30. So then you have to look at the charge per pill for that amount. So you have two different numbers, two different breakdowns, and then you have the upcharges of both companies being different. You know, Chewy isn't going, I feel Chewy doesn't upcharge the way that the veterinary practice would upcharge because, again, they're going to just have, more volume to move. So if you make it cheaper, it becomes more affordable. Where it's not so much the same on the veterinary side. I know if I walked into a vet clinic and they said, you have to send in your own prescription, but it's going to be $5 to get that prescription, I would be a little peeved. Even though, like, I'm not going to lie, I'd be a little Karen-esque. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my fault that there is that big of a difference that I'm going to an outside source because financially it makes more sense.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, but also, yeah, you're making $5 for me to get the script that you would have filled in the hospital. You're only making $5 when you could have made $50. There's a big disconnect, in my opinion, on that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you want to make something. I get it. But your product's not moving. It's going to end up expiring because of Chewy and Walgreens and Costco all coming out with cheaper prices because they can buy a bigger quantity than what your practice can. And I get that. But like we're entering into a new era where you're going to get more and more angry people and more people leaving because they're getting truly nickeled and dimed.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But like also on the veterinary side, I get it. You know what I mean? Like you're losing money. I get it. You're trying to make as much as you can because you want the roof to stay over your heads. You want to pay your employees.
Yes.
So like I get it. But as a client, I want to egg your car. I would charge $5 to then pick up a script that I then have to upload myself. When you know what? The human side sends it to wherever you want.
The human side doesn't have a pharmacy.
Some of them are starting to, but
a lot of them don't carry the inventory.
No, and like the hospital that I work with has its own pharmacy in hospital that yes, patients can use, but they actually discourage it. They want it for the employees, right? They don't keep things in massive stock. Like it is a small room with small amount of medications, but it is still, and I cannot stress this enough, significantly cheaper than going to Walgreens, than going to Walmart even. You know what I mean? Like we're talking like cheaper than the $4 scripts that Walmart was running back in the you know what I mean? Like it's that level. But they don't have the quantity, and this is where my knowledge base is going to lack because why? You know, like I've done ordering for veterinary practices. I've done the research on finding the cheapest route of the cheapest medications, you know. So, but then also on the flip side, like I'm confused. And maybe you could shed more light, Amber. Like, yeah, you're taking time out of your day to process the Chewy. How many Chewy prescriptions do you see in a day at your practice? Because like I'm trying to wrap my mind.
So it varies. You know what I mean? It varies. Like my teams check the, the Chewy platform, like the online pharmacy platforms every morning. So it varies. We could have, 10 scripts in the morning, or we could have 3 scripts in the morning. You know what I mean? It varies. But at the same time, you are, and again, when you're thinking about these practices that are charging $5 to write these scripts, right? They're more than likely those ones that are breaking everything down to how much tech time does it take to process that script, to, you know what I mean, to be on the phone to take the order
And
for that script. Then it takes time for the doctor to write the script. Then you know what I mean? Like they break it down like that financially, right? More or less, when we're charging these $5 fees, it is because to pay for the time, but two, to try to I don't want to necessarily say inconvenience, because that sounds like it's playing a game, but like for that client to be like, okay, well, I'll just get it from you. You know what I mean? It's you're trying to create diversion. Like you're trying to divert them from the online pharmacy to purchase either A, from your online pharmacy, which can be very competitive with the Chewy brand, or
mhm.
it directly from your clinic. So you have those products on the shelf. They're taking up real estate. Everybody marks everything up differently, which it should be a standard. I'm sorry, it should. You shouldn't be buying Simparica Trio, a 6-pack, for one price here, and then go up the street and it's $30 cheaper. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there should be some kind of a cap or some kind of standard on that, because it's ridiculous what people do in terms of like price gouging and whatnot. But anyway, to answer your question, there are a lot more clinics that are moving in that direction because it is an inconvenience to the staff. It's an inconvenience to the doctor. It causes, decrease in your pharmaceutical revenue. And granted, yes, it's $5, but it's $5 that eventually adds up, and helps. Doesn't completely cover those losses, but it helps contribute towards that, to recouping that.
But you never recoup what you lost because Chewy and like those pharmacies will always win.
They're always going to win. They're always, and
They're always because they're competitive within themselves on providing, for the most part,
Mhm.
cheaper medications, whether that be Heartgard,
Yeah.
ampicillin, whatever. So like it's just we're moving, and I mean 16 years isn't chump change of seeing all of this. And like, yeah, it's annoying to go and have to deal with the prescriptions and that, but like it was part of our day to day.
Mhm.
So like if I find it now in this day and age to be sympathetic if you're complaining about losing revenue, not having people come into your clinic because again, they can't afford it and they're trying to do right by their dog, but let's charge you $5.
Mhm. It's a double.
Like I was gonna say, I was like, it is a double-edged sword because I get it. I get where it's coming from, but like also as a client now who like is just solely a client, I would be very upset and not go back to you next year when my dog is due.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if my dog needed antibiotics, yes, I'm not going to fish around and I'm just going to get the antibiotics for you from the veterinarian. Because like I'm also thinking of just strictly client-based brain, not
Yeah.
vet tech choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like I'll pay what I need to pay to help my dog. But if it's something that can wait a couple of days and you're charging me $50 and
Yeah.
I'm finding it 25, $30 somewhere else, I'm going to need it cheaper.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But then to process it the client self, like for me to have to pay $5 to then upload it myself to whatever platform I choose, I won't go back to you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you may have recouped $5, but next year you're now down $200 because I'm not going to do my annual with you. I'm going to go to somewhere else.
Exactly. It's again that double-edged sword that you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And both the clinics, that I'm with, we don't charge for them, but we do make them do the physical scripts, right? Or,
And that's fine.
yeah. Well, when I say the physical script, if they go somewhere, other than Chewy or anything like that, that we have a kind of a relationship with, because there are some of these online pharmacies now, like Chewy, right, where you have your dashboard and you have your platform, and they actually give you a kickback for approving prescriptions for your patients. You know what I mean? Like they're giving back, realizing what they're taking out of these veterinary clinics. I don't think OTC products should be carried in a veterinary clinic anymore, because there are like feline cosequin, bro. I can't order it for as cheap as it is in the store with the markup in the store. You know what I mean? I don't think OTC and supplements and things like that, your prescription medications, your controlled substances, stuff like that, absolutely. Your preventatives, we've already lost the battle on that. We lost the battle on that years ago when they started bootlegging the packaging boxes and things like that. So when you have someone like Chewy, yes, Chewy is set the bar, right? It's taken over the market, but they are making strides to give back. I can get not charging that $5 physical script fee, or allowing your clients to directly request their prescriptions through Chewy, process it, and then you get that back. You know what I mean? To help offset what's not flowing off of your shelf, what's not turning in your inventory. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm on the fence on both sides of it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're charging because it's costing my time to do this, but at the same time.
And there's no way to get the numbers, right? There's no way to get the numbers because this is because it's newer, like let's just say the past 2 years that this is becoming more and more common. So you need 5, 6, 10 years of the data of client A comes in, has the year, and then how much do you, and I don't even know if you can do it, but I feel like smarter people than me can actually put it on a spreadsheet and make it make sense, because in my brain I'm like, how are you not losing clients doing this? Like, you're already losing the revenue of the medications of X, Y, and Z. You're already losing that, and you're only making $5 back, but now you probably lost a client.
100%. So it's a fine line that you have to teeter every day with the way that the industry is going. And it used to be back in the day when 1-800-PET-MEDS came out, right? Or, when pet stores and feed stores and things like that started carrying products like Frontline or Advantage, that was all being provided to them through diversion. They weren't supposed to have those products because they were supposed to come directly from the veterinary hospitals. And this online movement of pet medications in this billion-dollar industry has all pretty much discouraged Big Pharma from keeping it in the veterinary clinics, and now they're allowing it to be sold everywhere. So that's part of the problem too, but we're not going to win. Chewy's going to win.
Well, but also, this goes on a national level, right? On what medications charge. And because I made a point in the TikTok about someone ordering through another country. And there is a lot of risks to that because you don't know what you're buying. But there's also risks on online pharmacies because, again, you're trusting that company, right? Trusting that they're giving you the appropriate products. Risk of that off to the side. It was cheaper to go to another country that's thousands of miles away to get the medication for all their dogs for the year, pay tariffs for it to then come into the country than to go to the regular vet. And that speaks volumes of an issue of medication and the price of things as a nation versus what other people are doing in other countries.
In those countries, like we had talked about earlier, a lot of those heartworm and flea products I'm not going to say regulated, right? They're OTC. You don't need a prescription for them. And people are like, God, I got my HeartGuard box and it has Chinese writing on it. It's not real HeartGuard. Chances are it is, because those companies sell those things in those countries as well. You know what I mean? Everything hits the UK or Australia or something like that before it hits the American market. So chances are it is a legitimate product. You know what I mean? But it's not regulated. And the fact that it's easier accessible to get it from another country than it is to get in ours, and it's less expensive. Kudos to them for.
And we're not talking. And also, guys, we're not talking, when this person was doing this, we're not talking $20. We're talking hundreds of dollars, because it's a year's worth, and they had, extra large dogs down to teeny tiny dogs. But we're talking, it was hundreds of dollars less expensive for a year's worth. And mind you, this is 5 dogs. So he had to really look at the money aspect of it all. And, he got mad about the price difference. And he was like, we're talking $30 to $100 a box. Like he was getting charged like $30 with shipping and tariffs to like $100 for a box that he could have
Yeah.
got from his vet. So again, the vet still missed out on the money, but also Australia did not because they had it for that price and with tariffs and shipping because it's thousands of miles and it came within 3 to 5 days.
Yeah, that's insane to me. That is literally insane. Insane. I mean, I don't know. And two, you think about it, right? And you're competing with Chewy and Sam's and Costco and things like that. You as a veterinarian have the opportunity to have your own online pharmacy, right? To decrease what it is that you're carrying on your shelves and run through an online pharmacy to where that online pharmacy, those distributors can purchase those products in bulk, offer significant discounts to be able to keep that business in your practice.
And they handle all of that. You just have to tell them you want that set up and they do it all. You don't have to do a thing. They create the portal, they create the medications that you want on your side and can tweak accordingly. You just and they add it on.
Yep. You can
And
manage your
again, money's still in your pocket that you're like you give. I knew a clinic that did like they're like, okay, we're going to give you 3 days of medication of this. There wasn't a question about it, and then you're going to go through this. It's going to be put onto our online pharmacy and then shipped to your house. It wasn't, oh, I think we can do this. It was, nope, here's 3 days worth of medications. It'll be at your house tomorrow or the next day. You'll be fine. Let me know there's an issue. We can do X, Y, and Z. But like, it's such a well-oiled machine now to where I feel like charging for a script in general shouldn't be a thing, but is becoming a thing.
Yeah.
When you have other avenues to where you can compete within reason to do Chewy.
Yeah.
Because like if I'm looking at medications, and again I'm going to use $50, right? It's $50 for a medication for Alley Dog. Okay. Chewy then, and this is like through the whole online portal, right? They're going to give me 3 days worth of medication. It's going to be in my house tomorrow or the next day. Dollars. Then I turn around for Chewy and it's $45. I'm not going to mess around with that. I'm not going to mess around for that $5. I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, I'll just stick with you guys. You know what I mean? Like that's where my brain will then go, well, it's going to be easier for me now to just have it still sent to my place. I get a couple of days now and we live our best life. That $5 then in my client-based brain isn't going to make that big of a difference. And you're going to see me for my recheck. You're going to see me, you know what I mean? Like I think about it on that flip side of the brain. Like, okay, I'm still going to spend my money.
You're losing more revenue charging that $5 for that script than you are generating charging that $5 for that script.
Because I can tell you right now that vet lost out on those 5 dogs that got cheaper products in Australia. He's going to another practice. When it comes time for the yearly, he's going to another practice because of how much he figured out that they were, and I'm going to say in quotes, gouging, because they also wanted X, Y, and Z to go with the Simparico or whatever it was. So they wanted more than what was needed to get the script legally. You know what I mean? The medications. And so he's going to another clinic when it's time for the yearlies. And that's 5 dogs. That's not just a Pomeranian. That's 2 Danes, 3 Dachshunds, and a Corgi. You know what I mean?
All those dogs and clients that person that you're talking about speaks to and says, hey, this is what I did. This is how I got my prevention. That's like a domino effect. You know what I mean?
Yes, word of mouth, wildfire.
Yeah, so as a practice,
I don't like that this is becoming a norm.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I know I'm not in it. I was surprised that it was becoming more and more commonplace. I understand it takes time away, but I would rather have time take away from my techs doing this than losing the revenue of a client yearly.
Or multiple times a year while you're BSing.
Or multiple times. Yeah, like, oh, Fluffy's, because then you could be like, oh, Fluffy's vomiting. Oh, I think just to be safe and sorry, let's bring Fluffy in.
Yeah, but I'm not
when really
there.
it normally would, yeah, and be like, we're going to go try this place down the street because my friend says their prices are better.
Yeah.
So I get it, but as a client, I'm mad.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, again, double-edged sword. I get it, but also I think it's going to hurt more than help.
I do, but I agree with you in that aspect. I do. Yeah. So it becomes an inconvenience to the client, and with everybody's busy schedules and, life demands and stuff. And then you got to go pick up the prescription. Then you got to mail it in because you can't email it. Then you got to do this and you got to do that. It's just, it's not to say to comply with the times and get your own online pharmacy, be competitive with Chewy and things like that, because you can do that, because that's not product that you have to order and keep on the shelf. You know what I mean? That's not real estate that it's taken up. That's money that you're putting out to have that product on the shelf, but yet you still profit from it. Better utilize your online pharmacy. Be more active with it. Offer discount codes, stuff like that, to be able to retain your clients to get product from you rather than them going to Chewy or something like that. So it's just, it's hard when it's everywhere. The social media coverage, the commercials, the everything. I mean, and seriously, Chewy will send your dog a toy on his birthday, or they have, I don't know, they've cornered the market on this stuff, dude. Like I gotta give it to them. 1-800-PET-MEDS I hated with a fiery red passion.
But Chewy, every now and then Chewy slips up and stuff happens, and, mistakes happen, and that is a different topic for a different day, because those mistakes can happen at any pharmacy that you go to. Because again, humans are the ones that's filling it until, the robots come in. That's a topic for another day. AI, them filling, but like Chewy done perfected it to both help the veterinary community by doing the online pharmacy or doing the kickbacks when you're authorizing prescriptions on their portals and things like that. So you're not losing as much, like Chewy's top tier, Chewy, if you want to sponsor us, we got you. But yeah, no, I'm surprised that it's more common than I actually thought. More people were going to say no, but more people said yes.
Yeah.
And like, some people were like, yeah, we do it. It's, some take, one person said some are really simple and some are more complex. Complex as in hours and days? No. I was the person that approved it for internists. Like, you can't say it takes hours and hours when I worked with two very type A internists that you just have to provide X, Y, and Z to them. And they said, oh yes, approve or deny. And then you approve or deny. So like, you can't tell me it takes hours. You can tell me it takes an hour or two. I'll give you an hour or two to get the doctors rounded up to approve it and for them to take a quick look at the chart. I can give you that. But you're not just standing there for an hour or two with a script in your hand.
No, not. You're not.
You're not.
It takes seconds to write it, to sign it. And yes, there's research that has to do behind it. But to be completely honest with you, if you got a Chewy request that comes in, your client communication specialist or your technician should be doing the research and letting the doctor know, hey, he's eligible for a refill or he's eligible for this. Can you go ahead and sign it? Yeah. But again, that's time.
9 times out of 10. Yeah, 100%. But you're not standing there with a script in your hand for 2 hours waiting for the doctor to approve or deny.
Yeah. So
just throwing that little wrench in that argument, because again, if you guys feel the same, go ahead, drop a comment. If you don't, you can say that you don't agree. We try to see both sides of it as both client and practice manager side on where the money's going. But yeah, drop a comment. Let us know what you guys are seeing on your side or dealing with. And I want to know if you're losing clients. Like, I want to know if you're seeing a trend. Because I didn't think about that. Like, I kept circling back around every day since I posted the video on TikTok. And I'm like, it just makes me wonder how it's being perceived, because like Karen's coming in for that script to have to do themselves, and how people are nowadays. I feel bad for the receptionist dealing with that, is the moral of the story.
It's just the nature of the beast these days. And I see it as a client, as a consumer, right? I see it as a consumer, as a pet parent. And I also see it as a practice manager who has to see it from the point of view of a consumer to take care of my clients, to make sure that I'm doing right by them so they can do right by their pets. But at the same time, to look out for my business. I have to be able to pay my bills. I have to be able to pay my staff. I have to be able to bring in different treatment and diagnostic modalities to be able to take care of.
You're not going to get that from $5 scripts.
Listen, but I will get that from a $200 and something 6-month supply of prevention, but again, these markups with certain practices are completely asinine. There should be a cap. There should be some kind of regulatory, markup percentage that we can do on certain products across the board in the industry. Same with human medicine. You know what I mean? It's become
that's another conversation for another day. Oh my God.
But
That's just makes me
it's
mad. Makes me mad all over again. Don't get me started on health insurance shit.
we want to complain about those owners that come in that can't afford services, but who can with the way that the prices are going up, inflation, and then you mark things up. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, markup is necessary. I will say that, absolutely necessary.
Yes. 100%. 100%. You can't give things away for free. You can't.
Exactly.
Nor should you. Nor should you. Like, no.
Don't gouge. Don't gouge. You want to make it affordable for your clients to be able to care for their pets. If you do that and your price, again, like I said, a box of prevention at one place being, $30 cheaper at another place, like you want to take care of your clients. You want to provide them the ability to be able to afford care in your clinic, not the clinic up the street. And right now, we preach about value added to the services. These services, this blood work, is so much money because of the value that it adds, and this is what's in it. People don't give a shit about added value right now. People give a shit about bottom line pricing.
Yep.
They don't want
Correct.
extra for
They don't want
value
no.
to it. On the value side, I get that. People are not processing that right now. They're processing being able to take care of their animals, feed their kids, and pay their bills. They don't give a shit about what kind of value is added to the blood work panel.
Nope, they don't. Because they can't. They're having enough problems paying the bills, food on the table, taking care of Fluffy. And unfortunately, food on the table and kids are going to come and trump Fluffy. So Fluffy is the one that's going to suffer. So how do we help Fluffy in the best way possible in this economy? Responsibly. And ethically. Like, we can get into whole ethics on another day on a number of scenarios, and but it's another episode.
I can finish with, veterinary medicine. Yes, we are there for our patients, right? We advocate for our patients. We advocate for our clients. Bottom line, veterinary medicine as an industry is a business. And as a business, we have shit to pay for to be able to keep that business open. Just much like the ice cream shop down the damn street or the boutique that you go to buy cookies for your dog. It's a business. You have to pay for business operations. So anyway, that conversation for another day, and I got lots of opinions.
We got lots of thoughts and opinions, guys. But we want to know what yours are.
Yes, we want to know what yours are.
So drop a comment, like it. Really helps us out. Share it with your friends. Until next time, guys.
So guys, what do you think about our asshole vet charging this, that, or the other? Just have a conversation, but be nice. Be nice.
We need more niceness in the world.
Because I'm going to start charging. I'm going to start choosing violence if people want to keep being buttholes about stuff.
Until next week, guys. We'll see ya.